Hello everybody, how's it going? I'm the Tmeister and welcome back to Aubrey City. It is now episode 10 and today we are going to be working on, again, the Marina area. But this episode we're going to move a little bit more inland, focus a little bit more on our main street, if you will. So we're going to build some pubs and shops and clubs and bars and houses and apartment complexes and all sorts of stuff. It's going to be a pretty interesting episode. There's going to be a lot of detailing, such as what I am doing right now. So the entirety of this episode is going to be a fast track. Alright, so let's get started. What I'm doing right now, guys, is I'm detailing a part of the Marina area that's going to be more touristic by day, party by night. So there's going to be a lot of little shops, gift shops, I guess markets. Okay, so that's going to draw all the tourists in during the day. Then during the night, all that's going to close down and the whole area is going to transform into like this big party area. And what I'm basing this area off of, a few years ago I was in Tampa, Florida, visiting the old Igor, I think it's called Igor or Igor district. But no, I'm sorry, it's Ybor instead of Igor, it's a B. So essentially what the Ybor district is, it's this old, I guess it's like the old downtown Tampa. And essentially what they've done is they converted that into a nice huge party town, I guess. So it's a huge district, it's just lined with bars. And apparently at night during the weekends they actually close down the streets. And it's just a huge party in this nice district. So essentially this is what I'm trying to recreate, except to a little bit of a smaller scale in this case. I guess I'm just trying to get the area to have the same vibe as Ybor district. And if you go all the way to my hometown of Moncton, New Brunswick, we have our own little version of this, and it's called Robinson Court, as you can see right now. Basically, it's an old street that's been converted into a little alleyway, and there's a few bars and clubs that are located there. But it's certainly not to the scale of Ybor City or what we're building at the moment, which does not have a name. We'll get to that a little later in the episode. So I'm going to stop talking for now. Going to let you guys enjoy me plopping down some more props. I'm going to focus a little bit more on Main Street here in a second. It's not actually called Main Street, but I'm calling it that because it's the main street heading through this district. But if you guys have any good names for it, feel free to comment. So I'll see you guys in exactly 3 minutes. Okay guys, I'm back, and what I'm doing right now is I'm adding a little bit of detail to the sidewalk here. I thought it was a little bit plain, and by default when plopping this building it just had a large sidewalk, and I could have simply used the move it tool to move it closer to the road, and I would have had a little bit less work to do in regards to the sidewalk. But I figured I would use that space and create a little bit more, give it a little bit more life, instead of just taking the easy way out. So basically what I wanted to do for this particular area is create these little outdoor seating areas where people can go outside to eat at various restaurants that are lining the street. In just a second here, you'll see that I go into my sign menu, and at that moment I figured it was a good idea to go in there and plop down some signs. I figured that these nice old neon open signs would be a good addition to this area. I mean, there already is a lot of signs on all the buildings. Just to add a little bit more character to the district, I figured I'd add a few more little signs. And so far I'm really liking the way that this is going. Although I've never built anything like this before, I'm quite happy with the way we're going so far. A lot of times while I'm detailing, I notice that I'm constantly plopping down the same type of props all the time. So the same bushes, same trees, and I hope it doesn't get very monotonous for you guys. And the only reason why I won't go and download these huge prop packs is, number one, that's not the focus of Aubrey City. I want to focus a little bit more on realism as a whole. So I want Aubrey City to look realistic a little bit more from afar, okay? I don't want to get into the fine details. You know, I don't want to go into the cracks and crevices of the city. Although it looks cool, I think it dings performance a little bit. So the more props you add, the more taxing it is on your system. So when you go ahead and zoom out, although you don't even see half the props that you've plopped down, it does affect the performance of the game, and I don't want that. Number two would be more on a performance standpoint. Before the original Aubrey City got corrupted, I had over, I'd say 3,000, maybe 4,000 assets in my from the workshop. And again, the game was taking a huge hit in performance, and it got to the point where the game wasn't really fun to play anymore. I had to constantly tweak the game, delete old assets, you know. I was constantly fighting with the game just to be able to play it, and it was harder for me to create content for you guys, and it got frustrating. So I told myself I'm gonna keep my asset list under 2,000. I think I'm currently at 1,500. I think 2,000 is a good number. Depending on the specs of your computer, I mean, you can probably handle more. But so you have to watch yourself too, because many of the mods you download today, in 2 or 3 months, there is a huge possibility that they might be outdated, not supported anymore. So it could drastically affect the performance of the game. It's happened before where there are many vital mods that just stopped working, and you know, the game was virtually unplayable, or it severely affected gameplay. I'll give you guys an example. When the time changer mod, I'm not even sure what it's called, but we're gonna call it a time changer mod, basically allows you to choose what time of day it is, and it also allows you to pause the time. Basically what I'm doing right now is there is never a day cycle. Although the game is in play mode, there's no night and day cycle. So a little while back, I believe is after the natural disasters update, the night cycle mod, or the day changer, whatever you want to call it, wouldn't work anymore, and it was harder for me to film because there was no way to pause the day and night cycle. So the game would constantly go night and day and night and day, and of course it's harder to see at night. So it was, I assume it was a lot less fun for you guys to watch my videos at that point. But that's okay. In that case, the mod is working now. Everything is good. So I'm happy. In this particular area, guys, although it's a very touristic area, I figured I'd add a little bit of lower class homes just to add a little bit of realism. Because let's face it, nobody wants to live beside a highway, a lot of traffic noise, so some lower class apartment buildings would just be appropriate for this area. One thing that I've been taking a little bit more time to do lately is plop down some fauna in any open space that I have. It does take a little bit of time, but it's completely worth it because it looks a ton better than if you just leave the open default grass. So in any open grass space that I have, I'll just go ahead and plop down nice bushes or tall grass, anything like that. And it does make a huge difference. And it's just by experimenting with different props that I've noticed that I've gotten a lot better with detailing lately. I've spent a lot of time plopping down some trees and bushes and various fauna types. It's super time consuming, but the end result is totally worth it.
I give in to the lesser fight. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify this strength of mine. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify this strength of mine. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. Weakness comes and goes, it goes, it goes. My weakness echoes in my soul. Oh, it echoes in my soul. My weakness comes and goes, it goes, it goes.
As I was working on my residential area here, I noticed that a lot of citizens were sick because of the highway noise. So then I went ahead and plopped down my hospital, and then I figured I might as well plop down all of my other services at the same time. So I go ahead and do that. I forget where I found this really old fire station, but I really like the way it fits in the district here. One thing that's been on my mind, guys, this past couple of episodes, and I would think it would really help the series, is if I would create a nice intro to the series. The only problem right now is there's not actually enough of the city built to be able to create an intro. And while I was building this particular district, I was thinking to myself, this is a huge step forward in the creation of an intro, because I'm totally able to feature this area in an intro. So I figure probably in the next 3 or 4 episodes, once we really get the downtown core going, I'll be able to create a really beautiful intro for you guys. And I also think it would give a good idea to any new viewers who come on and watch my series, what to expect in Aubrey City. I guess I would give them an idea of what the theme of the city is. So right off the bat, they'll know that it's not going to be a tropical paradise, or it's not going to be a European type city. Aubrey City is your average, middle class American city, I'd say. So I mean, it's not like San Francisco or New York. It's more like your average Midwestern city. One thing that I've noticed also while building Aubrey City is I've spent a lot of time just exploring on Google Maps, looking at satellite pictures of different Midwestern cities, I guess such as Denver or Minneapolis, also some Canadian cities like Edmonton and Calgary. And one thing that I've noticed a lot more often in American cities, not so much in Canadian cities, is that the downtown cores of a lot of American cities are completely deteriorated. So like you have your central business district, which is nice and strong, but then all around it, I noticed that it's all empty lots, empty parking lots. A lot of houses are run down, a lot of houses are torn down, so there's just empty grass lots all over the place. And I've noticed that in the majority of American cities, it seems to be a huge problem. It's less so in Canadian cities, I would say, because if you look at Calgary and Edmonton, that are very similar to any American Midwestern cities, that doesn't seem to be a problem at all. I mean, every lot seems to be taken up. So I'm not sure why that's the case. I can only assume that it's a lot easier for somebody to move out into the suburbs where houses are a lot newer, less maintenance. It's hard to keep up old 200-year-old houses, right? So everybody figures, it's just easier to move out of the city or into the suburbs. So yeah, it's just one thing that I've noticed, and it's also a topic that a lot of people are aware of, I believe. So yeah, but I'm not gonna. But in this case, in Aubrey City, I'm going to try to avoid having too many empty lots scattered around everywhere. Although I think the realistic thing to do would be to include some here and there. Like I said, for the most part, I'm going to try to keep everything as densely packed as I possibly can. Well, not densely packed, but you know what I mean, just not having any abandoned lots all over the place. Alright, so moving on now, we're going to go a little bit more east in our Marina district, and this part of town is going to be a little bit more residential compared to, I guess, the central part of the Marina district. So I'm going to add a lot of apartment complexes, some luxurious apartments, some run down, because don't forget it's an old part of town, it's an old neighborhood. So not every building can be this luxurious apartment. Alright guys, well just a second ago as you saw me plop the Westin Hotel, I immediately thought that it was pretty bland. It was just a wide open pavement space, and I decided that I would create this nice little drop-off area, add some nice flags and some curbs just to add a little bit more detail to it, rather than just using the move it tool and move it closer to the road. And I'm really happy with this addition. It looks way more realistic, having that little drop-off zone, and it makes the area generally a little bit nicer. And as I stated a little bit earlier in the video, for the eastern part of the Marina area is going to be more residential, and the theme that I'm going for as much as possible is I want to retain that sort of beachfront, Cape Cod, Atlantic City kind of vibe. So that's why I'm adding these newer-ish apartments. I'm going to also add a few beach house style apartments, just to make the area feel a little bit more high-end, but not, you know, super luxurious. So if you look at those types of cities in that general area, such as Atlantic City or Ocean City, you'll generally find these types of apartments right now that I'm working on. And that is the sort of vibe that I want this area to have. So for the entirety of the eastern part of this area is going to be those types of buildings, and I'm eventually going to build a little tiny industrial park under our bridge, which we called the Malone Bridge, I believe, in a few episodes ago. On a side note, guys, it's extremely warm in my room right now. Whenever I play City Skylines, it really heats up my room in no time. And although my PC is only 2 years old, and within those 2 years I've done various upgrades, such as upgrading my RAM to 32 gigs, I'm also running a 4690K overclocked to 4 gigahertz. And I gotta tell you, I mean, even with those upgrades, City Skylines just pushes my PC to the max. I'm running a 212 Evo CPU cooler, and even with that, I mean, the heat that comes out the back of my system is just crazy. I mean, I've thought many times of upgrading to liquid cool, but then I think it's nice in the winter, I guess. Here, I mean, here in Canada, it can drop down to like minus 30 Celsius. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but I'll let you guys convert it. But it is nice in the winter time. It keeps my room nice and toasty, but I can't imagine it being very fun in the summer, but we'll see. So if you're thinking about upgrading your heating system in your home, just don't. Just buy a cheap gaming PC, install City Skylines on it, and just let the game run, and I guarantee you within an hour your room's gonna be roasty toasty. Alright, so right now I'm going to begin building a second marina. It's going to be roughly the same size as the first one, and the reason I'm building it is I just really enjoyed building the first one, and I thought a second one would look cool. I was anticipating the flooding to be a lot worse than this, but I guess if you go into increments while the game is playing, it's not that bad, because if you would do this while the game is paused, and then as soon as you would press play, I'm sure it would get pretty wet. Just to let you guys know, as we approach the 30-minute mark of this video, I am now scrambling to get my commentary done before I leave for a week-long trip to Cuba. I'm just rushing to get this video out to give you guys some content to watch while I'm away. I don't want to extend, because I wouldn't want you guys to go a whole month without me releasing any content. So if you're watching this video the day it was posted, I am probably on either a bus or a plane or God knows where. So in the next episode I'll give you guys a little bit of an update on how the trip went. I think it's going to be a pretty good time. I've never been to any other country other than the US and Canada. And who knows, it might give me some inspiration for future videos, although we're not going for the tropical theme here. But I might be able to implement a thing or two that I've seen there. Maybe eventually make like some sort of resort or some sort of golf club. I don't know, we'll see. And this just brings me to another topic, and that is whenever I want to build something new that I haven't built before. And for this I'm going to use an airport for an example. Okay, so to build an airport, you need to subscribe to a whole crap load of mods. You know, from planes to little buggies to taxiways, runways, terminals, the whole works. It can add up to 300, 400, 500 assets sometimes. And that's a problem for somebody that wants to keep their asset list to a minimum. And the reason I'm saying this is I want to build an airport in the future, and I want to build a golf club, and I want to build this and that. And the problem with that is every new thing I want to build, I have to subscribe to a whole asset list to be able to build that. So I don't think I'm going to be able to keep my mod list under 2,000. In the past, I've gone up to like 2,500, 3,000 before my game started to, you know, run pretty rough. And obviously you can't start to unsubscribe to various assets because you're just going to cause yourself more problems. But we'll see how it goes, guys. I'm not going to limit myself to how many assets I can install, you know. So I'm always trying to bring you guys as much interesting content as I possibly can. And if it means subscribing to 300, 400, 500 mods just to build, for example, an airport, then I will do it. I won't limit myself one bit. You guys come first. And yes, if you're wondering, I am going to build a huge international airport in a future episode. Because if you watch any of my older SimCity 4 videos, you'll know that airports are one of my strong points. Because when I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot. I was very involved with the aviation scene, and I have a lot of knowledge with how airports work and how they're built. So airports are one of my strong points in the game. Although I haven't built too many in City Skylines, maybe 3 or 4 smaller airports. But I'm going to challenge myself this time. We're going to build a pretty huge international airport. So stay tuned for that, guys. That's going to be probably one of my favorite episodes. As you can see here, building these marinas is a little bit time consuming. Just because you have to play so much around with the Move It tool to get your paths, whatever you want to call them, to the right height. And even if you use the Move It tool to copy another one, whenever you plop it in its new location, the height isn't going to be the same, so everything's going to be lopsided and crooked. So using the Level tool and the Move It tool, it can be a little bit time consuming, but the end result is totally worth it. The only downside is there's fences all around the marina paths. I don't really like that. You don't commonly find that at any marinas, I don't think. Usually it's like this floating foam wooden structure. So there was nothing available on the workshop, so in situations like this you just have to work with what you have. And like I stated a little bit earlier, I'm not looking for extreme detail in Aubrey City. As long as as long as it looks good from afar, I'm totally satisfied with that. Holy crap, guys, my room is literally roasting me right now. Oh, I'm sweating right now. Just playing City Skylines, burning calories. It's awesome. So yeah, this video is the longest video I've made so far. The game has been running for probably 4 or 5 hours right now, and whenever you do these fast tracks, it takes about 3 or 4 hours to create a 45-minute video, depending on how fast you accelerate your video. But in the majority of the times, it'll create a nice 45-minute video per 4 hours of gameplay. And don't worry, for you guys who don't like these time-lapse videos, I'm not planning on releasing all the next videos like this. There's just so much to cover these last 2 videos that I really had no choice. I didn't want the marina area to drag on for, 10 episodes. So 2 episodes is good enough. Pretty happy that I was able to finish this in the time that it took me to do it. So in the next episode, we're going to move a little bit more inland into the downtown core. So it's going to be pretty interesting. I'm super excited. You know, I've been doing this for about 6 months now, and in no way am I getting bored, and in no way is it starting to feel like a chore, or it's starting to get monotonous. No, I enjoy every minute of it. Although the only thing I don't like is I don't always have the time to play City Skylines just because I have so much going on in my life. But you guys have been really good to me for that. You guys have been super understanding, and I appreciate that. So thanks a lot for my subscribers. Thanks a lot for anybody who watches my videos. And also thanks to the modders and the people who create assets. Without you guys, you know, the game would be still pretty good, but it wouldn't be as amazing as it is in its current state. And I assume that the game itself is going to have a really long lifespan because of the community we have here. I don't see City Skylines going away anytime soon. Even the developers themselves, there's always DLC coming out. So, I mean, you can expect videos from me and probably a lot more City Skylines players for a while, anyways. So for now, I'm going to let you guys enjoy a little bit of music while I finish up the last part of the marina. And after that, we're going to move on to our mini industrial park that's going to be under the Malone Bridge. There's also going to be a little bit of modification to the main highway coming into downtown that we built a few episodes ago. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay guys, I'm back and we're about to get started on my mini industrial park. Now initially I was going to build a water treatment plant because I thought it was going to look cool under the bridge, but the water treatment plant pack that I have was way too big. It was never going to fit in this little chunk of land here, and I didn't feel like doing a major terraforming job. So I decided to compromise and build a nice little warehouse pack. You can see here I'm trying to plop down some of the water treatment buildings, and I was quite disappointed at first, but you know, you got to do it with what you have. And what I end up doing is just plopping down some basic industrial buildings, and I mean, it looks all right. It's basically just a filler for that location. I didn't want to build any residential zones because nobody wants to live under a bridge. For this particular area, I wanted to make it a little bit more treed in, as if it was part of the park. And basically what I've done is created it as if it once was part of the park, and it was bulldozed, and new apartments were plopped where there was once the park. That's the sort of storyline that I have in my head pertaining this area. The simple reason why I'm building this interchange here, guys, the reason it is pretty obvious, and that is I don't want any truck traffic to be going through our little residential zone that we plopped down a minute ago. I think it would just piss off the residents more than anything, bring the land value down. We don't want that, so I created this nice simple interchange. It's not a complete interchange that you can get into this area from either side, but it will mitigate most of the truck traffic going through this little park. And as we're nearing the end of the video, I just want to thank you guys for watching, first of all, and also I'd like you guys to find a name for the area that we've just built. That is the entire Marina area, of course. And as always, guys, if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel for much more content on the way. And before I take off, I'm going to let you guys enjoy a nice cinematic movie of what we've built so far. I hope you guys like it, and until the next video, guys, take care. We'll see you guys in about 2 weeks.